Hello everybody. So let's have a talk about Derek Gordon Heggie in the Philippines. So I can say I'm pretty confident that he is a fugitive now in the Philippines on the run. Now, I spent many years on the run in the Philippines, and that is how I know so much about the Philippines and their process in finding fugitives on the run. So I'm going to explain how I managed to stay on the run and why I didn't get caught. I surrendered myself at the point where I needed to, because it's no life being on the run. And I'm going to explain what happened. So yeah, just bear with me, I'm going to cut back. Okay, so there's going to be people out there that are going to be judgmental towards me. Obviously, being on the run. I was in trouble for fraud in the UK, and I was on bail. And I decided to leave the UK because I didn't want to go to jail for the fraud that I committed. Do I regret it? Yes, I regret it. I wish I stayed in the UK and answered the charges, and it would have been a lot easier. I got longer for running away, but I'm going to explain now what happened. So I'm on police bail for fraud. They take my passport off me as I'm deemed as a flight risk. So I go back to my flat and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to go to prison. I really don't want to go to prison, but they've took my passport off me. So I think, you know what, I'm going to apply for another passport. So I apply for another passport. I say in the application it's lost. I didn't think it would come, but I thought there's a chance it could come. 2 days later, the post comes and my passport is in a brown envelope. Bear with me, I'm just going to cut back. As I was saying, so my passport arrives. I think for a minute and I think, okay, I'm going to try and go. So I book a flight to the Philippines. You have to book a return flight for visa immigration requirements. So I book a return flight. I then get a taxi to Heathrow Airport. I then get to the airport. I go through immigration. I'm shaking, but I'm trying to act. I'm trying to act just normal. I'm thinking at any minute they're going to flag up that I'm on bail and that my passport has also been seized. But anyway, I managed to get through immigration, and then I then go on board the flight and I'm waiting on the plane, and it's just sat there and I'm looking through the windows and I'm thinking, in a minute the police are going to come and get me off this plane. Anyway, they don't. The engines start and the plane zooms off the runway, and as soon as it's in the air, all my anxiety drops and I know I've made it. When I think back, I think I should have been more anxious about the factors of when I land in the Philippines in Manila and going through immigration, but that didn't cross my mind at that point. I was just happy that I was away from the UK because I thought I could stay on the run for the rest of my life, which ultimately I didn't do. But anyway, so I arrive in Manila 15 hours later and I get through immigration, no problem whatsoever. And then I just lived my life in the Philippines for years and years and years. I made mistakes by making a family in the Philippines, which I regret doing. It's selfish of me that I did that. I've got 2 children that are in the Philippines now, whom I will never see again, because I am now blacklisted from the Philippines because I was a fugitive in their country on the run. So I made a family in the Philippines and I was immature at the time, and I thought I could just live like this and stay on the run forever, basically. And the stress you put yourself under when you're on the run is massive. I've developed post-traumatic stress disorder. Just bear with me. Sorry about that. When I talk about this, it just brings back all the emotions, and it's hard because of what I went through in the Philippines. So yeah, I've developed post-traumatic stress disorder from being on the run in the Philippines, because my senses were so heightened all the time, looking over my shoulder, driving, living. Everything was so horrible. Just let me cut back because there's somebody coming. Anyway, in the beginning, I meet a girl and I fall in love with her, and my daughter comes along. And then after my daughter, I get a son, he comes along. And at the beginning, in the first year, I was using my own passport, I was staying in hotels using my own name, going to hospitals using my own name. And that was fine for the first year, I was fine. But after the first year, somebody messaged my partner on Facebook. It was a nurse from a hospital that I'd been visiting. And they said to my partner, the immigration officers have been to the hospital and they're looking for myself, and that she warns me not to go back to the hospital because they're going to arrest me. Bear with me while I cut back. As I was saying, so at that point I knew it was real for me. Try and come in, sorry. So I knew it was real, and all I could think about was, I don't want to lose my family. My life's here now in the Philippines. I'm happy with my little family that I've made, selfishly, I may add. And I didn't want to lose them. The thought of losing them was so horrible to me. I didn't want to lose them. I wanted to be with them forever. And I know ultimately, if I did get caught, then I would lose them forever. And I didn't want that to happen. So I decided to go on the run properly, and I got fake IDs. I basically turned into some kind of paranoid guy. They tried to get me multiple times. They could not get me at all. I stayed on the run for years and years, and because of the pressure of being on the run, it was horrible, and I developed a drug problem. And I started to use morphine to take away the pain, and it would relax me. And I got addicted to morphine to the point where I would inject myself with morphine just to feel relief from the stress and the stress of being on the run, which I'm not proud of, but it's just the truth of what I went through. So I'm just telling you. And then the new president come into office in 2016, I think it was, so after a year. And at this point, I'm heavily addicted to opiates. It weren't heroin, but it was basically, I was getting it from the hospital, the morphine. Same as heroin, really. It's just a cleaner version. And I seen the speech he made about, if you see any drug users or any drug dealers to the police, make sure you shoot them dead. This scared me immensely, and then I thought, I cannot be caught now, because if I do get caught, when I do get caught, I won't be able to use morphine, and after 8 hours I'm going to be withdrawing, so they're going to know I'm an addict. They're going to know I'm an addict, and are they going to kill me? It was a real threat to me, and that is what I lived with every day. So it weren't just the fact that I'm going to lose my family and my children, it was the fact that I could die as well. That was real to me. So I tried my utmost hardest never to get caught, and I was never caught. But what I went through in the process was not worth it for how I am today. Just bear with me. So when I was on the run, I would have a car, and this car was a Ford Ranger. A Ford Ranger with, you know, the little truck on the back, so I could carry my stuff around with me, because I would move house. I would move house at least every month, if not every 2 weeks. Sometimes every week. I would move constantly. I would always be on the move. I did not want to get caught. Say if I wanted to go to Cebu, so I was in Manila, I would go from Manila to Cebu, but I would drive. I wouldn't get a plane, even though it's a domestic flight, and you don't need to show ID for that. You can just go on the flight. So I wouldn't go on the flight. I would drive. I'd drive 24 hours straight without stopping and go on ferries to not get caught. I would constantly travel around the Philippines, jump in different islands to keep on the move so they could not catch me. I never got caught once. I think I had a tail a few times and I spotted it straight away. Somebody was taking pictures of me, and I think it was Australian detectives that were working over there, and I think they were taking pictures of me, so it must have been to do something with me being on the run. Maybe they was monitoring me to find out where I was living. As soon as I found that, I moved straight away, instantly, always moving at all times to not get caught. Bear with me. But I wasn't caught, and then I was looking for a security guard to guard my house because I was paranoid that in the night the immigration team could come and arrest me in the night. So I was looking for a guard, and I posted on Facebook. Anyway, a fugitive search unit operative messaged me on Facebook and asked whether I would employ him. Anyway, because I'm so paranoid, I looked into his background and found out that he had like military photos of escorting people on planes, and I knew then he was working with the immigration team. So I messaged him and said, I know who you are, and yes, somebody's coming 1 second. So as I was saying, I messaged the guy and I said, I know who you are, you can't trick me. And I said, I just want to be left alone. I've got a family. I'm not really a bad person. Can you just leave me alone? I just want to be happy with my family here in the Philippines. My charge in the UK is only fraud. I haven't hurt anybody physically, etc, etc. And he messaged me back saying, I want to help you. And he helped me. he helped me. He told me when the raid was going to take place and what intel they had. And when he told me, and then I leave, so I would stay in the house. He would then tell me when the raid was going to happen. I would leave, and then he would send me pictures and videos of in the house where I was at an hour ago. So he was the real deal, and he helped me. But then he didn't help me after. Towards the end, he got fired, and I had to just continue on my own. So I would constantly move all the time. So for Decca Heggie, if he is a fugitive on the run, even if it's a small crime back in the UK, it doesn't matter, he's still a fugitive on the run. And when you're posting on social media like Decca Heggie does, especially like he posted a video yesterday or today on a motorbike, well, they will look at that and they will see the background, and they're so good at spotting what city it is from the background. So they will find him, and that's the problem he will have. Bear with me, there's a train coming. And at the minute, I think Decca Heggie is in the first stage of it. It's not really been hit home to him yet that he's on the run. So he's acting like I was acting in the first year. But yeah, he says that he has this post-traumatic stress thing. He may well have it, I don't know. But if he does have it, I'm telling you now, once you're on the run, like I was for all them years, then you'll know about post-traumatic stress. So the first time I realised I had a problem, I was driving and I was with my kids in the car and my partner, and I started to shake. I started to feel really cold and I started to shake, and my jaw was jarring, like chattering, like I'm really cold. And I thought, what's going on? I think I'm having a heart attack. So I had to pull over and I got out the car and I walked on my own. I said, everybody stay in the car, I need to walk. And then it stopped. I was thinking, what is wrong with me? And I didn't know what post-traumatic stress is or anxiety. And later on I learned that it's post-traumatic stress. The trauma that I went through, thinking I'm going to die when I get caught, that's what I went through, and that's why I had the post-traumatic stress disorder. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think of everything. It was so much happened that it's hard to think from the top of my head to say everything. So I will do more videos on it because there's so much, there's so many stories that I went through in my life on the run in the Philippines. Close shaves and everything, and I got away. But I wish I never did it. I really wish I didn't do it. I regret doing it. I regret everything. I'm a totally different person today than what I was back then. I had a big ego. I thought I was untouchable. Today I'm just scared all the time, anxious all the time. It's horrible. And I was selfish because I made a family in the Philippines and they're never going to see their dad again. Because ultimately I won't ever do fraud again in my life, because I can't. Because I'm not the same as what I used to be. I'm too scared. The consequences of doing fraud is too big for me. I can't live that life being in fear that a police are going to knock on my door at any minute. There's a train coming. So anyway, just I'll brief it up quickly now and end the video, and then I can do other videos in the future once I can think about it more. But yeah, so I carried on being on the run and I didn't get caught. And after about over 5 years, I thought, I need to leave, don't I? I need to go back because I'm still addicted to morphine. I've been on it now for years and years, and I can't sustain living in the Philippines anymore, because you need money to be on the run. You need massive amounts of money. And obviously my morphine intake, I was spending £500 a week on morphine. Do you know what I mean? Else I'd be severely sick. So I contacted the British Embassy and I said to them, I want to surrender. And I gave them a date when I would surrender. And he said to me, as long as I stick to the date, he'll help me as best as he can. And he kept his promise and he helped me. I surrendered to the immigration people. On the day that I surrendered, I left my partner and my children and I gave them a hug and kiss, knowing that I have to leave now, because if I don't, I could ultimately die because I'm an addict, and that it was no life for them to be on the run with me. I could never go for a meal with them. I would go for a meal and then I would want to leave after 2 minutes because I'm too scared to stay there, because I don't want to be caught. It was selfish. I couldn't go to the mall with them, and my daughter, she wanted to play in the play area, and I was selfish that I didn't want to stay there because I didn't want to get caught. Ultimately, I was selfish that I didn't want to lose them, but I was being more selfish, letting them live the life with me on the run. So I decided I needed to go, for them and for me. And on the day that I left, I gave my kids a kiss, and my partner's mum was crying, and I got in the car and I drove, and when I was driving I was screaming and like crying, screaming, like, because I'm so sad. I didn't want to go, but I knew I had to. And I got to the British Embassy and I went to the guy and I said, I'm ready to go now. And he told me to go to the immigration team. So I could have then went back to my partner and kids when I left the embassy. I could have, but I didn't. I decided I'm going to stick through it. Yeah, bear with me, there's a train coming. Sorry about this. Sorry about that. Yeah, it gets emotional for me to think about my children, that's all. It's horrible. But yeah, so I surrendered, and they handcuffed me to a chair, and I stayed on a chair for over 24 hours, and I couldn't sleep. At this point I was withdrawing, but I managed to have my medication with me, morphine. Luckily I was prescribed it, so I was allowed to keep it. So I continued to take morphine while in the immigration detention centre, but that was only because I was prescribed it. And then, to cut a long story short, my MBI checks come back clear. Obviously I didn't commit no crimes in the Philippines, and I was allowed to book my flight to go home. So I booked my flight and I went back to the UK. And then when I got to the UK, I then started, they didn't give me morphine in the UK. I had to do a cold turkey withdrawal, and I went through hell for days and days, being sick, diarrhea, throwing up. I was 9 stone, I was so skinny, and I went for a cold turkey withdrawal, and I got remanded straight away, and I was on the healthcare ward, suspected TB from being in a Filipino jail. I went through hell. The withdrawal was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And I regret doing it. I regret doing the crime fraud. I am sorry for it. I really am. I wish I didn't do that. So if anybody does think about going on the run, it's really not worth it for what I've gone through. If you see me, how I was back in 2012, 13, I was different. I wasn't shy. I was loud. My ego was big. I'm a different person today. I'm not like that anymore. I like care away from things. I have nightmares sometimes, and yeah. I'm on methadone now because I relapsed when I left jail. Yeah, it's horrible. Like now, I don't take anything. I'm stable now. I'm on my scripts, and I'm only on 28 mil, so I don't take a lot at all, and I'm coming down slowly. But I still have post-traumatic stress, and I take lots of medication for my mental health. But I don't take diazepam. You don't need diazepam. You have diazepam for acute problems. Like, for instance, if you're having a massive panic attack for a few days, or there's a big change, then you have diazepam maybe, but you don't have it constantly. Decca is abusing diazepam. He's abusing it. There's no way he's taking 5 mil in the day and 10 mil at night. Not the way he's talking online. He's splurring his words. He's abusing the medication, and he's not a person, I think, that has post-traumatic stress disorder or whatever he says he's got. The way he acts online, that does not scream out somebody who is, do you know what I mean, who has got post-traumatic stress disorder. That is not what they do, because I know, because that's what I'm like, and I'm not like that. I believe he has some kind of mental health condition. Of course I believe that, but I don't think he's got what he says he's got. Definitely not, and he's definitely abusing diazepam. I don't think it's for the anxiety, because it shouldn't be a drug that is used for long term. It shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, just bear with me. But yeah, if Decca is on the run in the Philippines, which I suspect he is, that's why he's now trying to hide. It's not worth it. It's not worth it in the long run, because when you go to that jail in the Philippines, the immigration detention centre, it's hell. It is hell. And if you've got no money, because you won't have no money after, because you won't be able to post videos on YouTube, that's his only income, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be horrible. It will be horrible. And I don't wish it on anybody, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? I don't hate anybody. I don't wish bad to happen to Decca Heggie. I don't know the guy. I really don't know. He may be bad, he may not be. I don't care. All I'm commenting on is videos that I see. I'm giving my opinion on the matter. But I don't wish anybody to go through what I've gone through, because it's not nice at all. But that's why I know everything about the Philippines and about being on the run in the Philippines, because I've lived it. I've lived years and years of it. It's horrible, and that's I just wanted to explain to everyone why I know so much about it, and hopefully people won't judge me too much, but that's the truth. There is more to tell, but this was the first time that I've spoke about it, and I just thought I was ready to speak about it, that's all. But yeah, anyway, thank you. I will do more videos in the future about my experiences of being on the run in the Philippines. But yeah, thank you for watching.